Welcome everybody to Forza Motorsport 7, and today we're taking a look at the 2018 Bugatti Chiron. Now this is the successor to the Veyron, with production starting in 2016 and limited to a mere 500 units, with each one costing around $2.7 million. And yeah, like the Veyron, it has a carbon fibre body and independent suspension and a Haldex all-wheel drive system. And it also has the same engine, which is a 8 litre W16 quad turbo engine, which we can't actually properly look at, but it also was heavily modified from the Veyron to help give it 1,479 horsepower and 1,180 pounds-feet of torque, which is a huge amount of power, quite frankly, and obviously that helps it in terms of acceleration and top speed, which is pretty much all this car is really all about, quite frankly. Though I will say this, I do prefer the looks of it to the Veyron, especially at the front. Does pretty much look similar to at the side, and then it looks a little bit better at the rear end. But it's the front mainly that looks better. Interior, well, it's a little bit simple in here. There's really not much to it. I guess in part to save weight. Though then again, this car still does weigh quite a hell of a lot for something that has so much carbon fibre in it. Weighs 4,398 pounds, which is a hefty amount. That's more than some SUVs out there. So yeah, it's quite a heavy car, but nonetheless it still holds the fastest record, the fastest time for a car going from 0 to 249 mile an hour and back down to 0 with a time of 41.96 seconds, which is incredibly quick, and it did it in just 2 miles as well. So yeah, this car, like I said, is primarily about speed and acceleration. Spoiler does deploy at a certain speed and then go back down at a certain speed again, unlike the Veyron where you had to manually put it back down. But nonetheless, like I said, this car is more about speed and acceleration than anything else, but because we've already seen what it can do in a straight line in the review of the car pack that this car is featured in, we're going to take it out onto a more twisting circuit to see what it's like in terms of handling. So yeah, let's get out there and see what it can do. So we're at the Nürburgring GP circuit. So yeah, this track does have a couple of big straights on it, but it's mostly about the cornering, which personally I have the biggest problem with this car. Because not only does it weigh a fair amount, but it does seem to struggle with the amount of power that it is actually dealing with, which you might well see. So yeah, braking wise, oh dear, yeah, you have to remember that you're going way quicker than you would in a normal car on that straight. You can see we're already up to nearly 100 mile an hour just on that little bit there. And yeah, the car does seem to be really on the ragged edge in terms of dealing with its power. Personally, I think it comes down to the tyre technology, because that's also what's holding back the top speed of this car. I think it's the tyre technology that is struggling to deal with this amount of power when it comes to cornering, etc. So yeah, not perfect in terms of cornering, and therefore it does feel like a one-trick pony when it comes to what it can actually do. It's primarily in terms of straight line performance. But nonetheless, that straight line performance is really rather impressive. 0 to 60, 2.4 seconds, and 0 to 104.9 seconds. It's electronically limited to 261 miles an hour, though on this game you can get it up to 269. But Bugatti themselves say that if the tyre technology was there, this car could technically get up to 288 miles an hour, which would be incredible amount of speed. But the fact that it's only limited to 261 is, you know, a little bit disappointing, quite frankly, considering how much more power it has over the Veyron. So you know, it's only like 10 mile an hour there, so thereabouts faster than the Veyron, despite all that extra power and all that extra technology going into the car, which is a bit disappointing. And quite frankly, this car isn't quite as much of a technological leap as the Veyron was from, you know, previous supercars or hypercars. So yeah, feels like a bit of a letdown as far as I'm concerned. I would have expected a lot more technology wise and in terms of what it can do in terms of speed. Quite frankly, I would have expected them to have changed it up a fair bit more. But the fact that it kept the same carbon fibre body structure, the same all-wheel drive system, the same independent suspension, the same engine, though highly modified, does feel like a bit of a letdown, especially when you're considering the price that you pay for such a thing. And yeah, I certainly don't get the kind of hype that goes around this car. I can respect it in terms of what engineering is there, and certainly can respect it in terms of what it can do in terms of acceleration and top speed. But outside of that, yeah, there really isn't all that much to it. It's an obvious improvement over the Veyron in terms of looks, in terms of performance and power, but it's not as big as a leap as you would expect for a car that's, you know, far newer than a Veyron, and obviously probably even more money going behind it due to how successful the Veyron was. So yeah, not a car that I'm really gonna ever fall in love with, quite frankly, and even though I'm not disappointed that it's in the game, it certainly deserves its place in this game, being the fastest car you could probably buy at the time. It's certainly not worthy of the hype, and certainly not worthy of calling this car pack best car pack ever just because, you know, this car is featured in it. So yeah, personally I prefer the old Bugatti 12C, quite frankly. I'm going to say that right now. That's far more of an interesting vehicle and far more of a car that I wouldn't necessarily expect to be on this game, whereas this car is thoroughly predictable to be on the game and not all that great to even drive. So yeah, I imagine it would be better if you had the upgrades to the tyres, etc. you could put on this car, but in terms of what it can do stock wise, really not all that great, and certainly not worthy of being elevating the car pack it's featured into the status of great or whatever people are saying about it. So yeah, a solid car, certainly in certain areas, and certainly something that should be respected in terms of the engineering and the acceleration and speeds that it can do, but certainly not a car that I'd fall over to try and, you know, buy or even drive on this game. And yeah, certainly not even the best start of the car pack. I do prefer the Monaro and the Kia Stinger over this, but I am glad some people are happy with it being in the game, because pleasing people is what these car packs is all about, and if people are happy about it, then fine. And I'm, like I said, not disappointed about it being in the car pack, but it's certainly not, like I said, something to go all gooey-eyed over or anything like that, considering how lacking in handling it really is, and how lacking in a technological leap from the Veyron that it really isn't. So yeah, not the greatest of cars, but neither is it the worst, and it deserves a place in this game, even with my reservations. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.